This is The Full View. Welcome back. Now, as we continue with festive celebrations, about 2,500 people were arrested for public drinking across the country since the start of this period. Minister Bheki Cele said that since the 15th of October, 4,488 motorists were arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. Cele said that it's alarming that some people choose to drink and drive, as this is one of the biggest contributors to road accidents and fatalities. To discuss this further, we are joined by alcohol harm reduction activist, Mr. Maurice Smithers. Maurice, festive greetings to you. Thank you so much for your time. Now, a strong advocate for the reduction of alcohol intake. What is your reaction to these arrests?
Well, you know, it's not unexpected. And I suppose we can be happy that 2,500 people have been arrested, because in previous years, I think enforcement has been much more limited, and a lot of people have got away with drinking and driving without getting caught. So I suppose we should see that as positive. But on the other hand, I think the reason why it's happening is because there is a general culture of non-compliance and a general culture which says that you know, you can get away with it. And I guess a lot of the people who got arrested have discovered you can't get away with it. But it's, you know, until such time as we have established a norm in our society that if we have laws, that those laws need to be adhered to, and that people can't get away with things, I'm afraid these things will continue. And especially if they are supported by advertising and by a culture of promoting the idea that at the festive season you're not having a good time if you don't drink.
And speaking of the general culture, I mean, Maurice, this persistent behavior of alcohol intake, especially during the festive season, is something we have become so accustomed to, yet we should not. And as we know, a lot of crimes and incidents are as a result of excessive drinking.
Absolutely. And, you know, one of the problems that we have, like I said, with advertising, if you look at adverts in the newspapers around this time, all of the adverts around Christmas, around New Year, have got alcohol somehow featured. If there's a you know, an advert for alcohol, it'll say, you know, get ready for the festive season. Your specials for the festive season. There was one that I read something about get into the festive mood with this or that or the other kind of brand of alcohol. So there is this kind of messaging that goes out that says, you know, the festive season is equated with the drinking of alcohol, and then everybody reinforces that. You know, if you go to a party, you go out to a social gathering, to a braai, and you're not drinking, people are going to say to you, but why aren't you drinking? What's wrong with you? And so there is this idea that you can only have a good time if you're drinking, which actually is really odd if you think about it, because the World Health Organization and the South African Medical Research Council statistics show that only around 35% of people aged 15 and above in South Africa actually drink, which means 65% of people don't drink. So it's clearly not correct to say that you can only enjoy the festive season if you're drinking, if 65% of people don't drink.
Absolutely.
But the problem is that if you encourage that kind of thinking amongst those people who do drink, then you have the problem that we have, which is that of those people who do drink, around 60% are in fact problem drinkers, binge drinkers, and people who drink, for example, when they're driving, or you know, drink excessively at home, or drink excessively outside of the home in social environments, and then get involved in antisocial practices, you know, bad behavior, violence, gender-based violence, and so on.
Look, Maurice, there's also the issue of course, illegal liquor traders. Do you think that the current legal measures like closing down the dealers or confiscating the liquor is enough? We often hear that those perpetrators will later pay off the official bribes in order to get their stock back, which really is counterproductive.
No, that's true. That's true. We do have we have two problems. One is that we have unlicensed outlets, which shouldn't be operating, and really not enough is done about that. The police tend to turn a blind eye to it in many, many instances, and as you say, some are paid off. There's just not enough effort made to stop people from selling alcohol without a license. Then you've got the problem of those who do have a license, but the way in which they sell their alcohol, the way in which they allow their consumers to use alcohol is actually very antisocial, very dangerous to society, and very disrespectful actually of society, because you often find that you'll have a liquor outlet where people are drinking and behaving in a very loud manner and behaving in ways that are antisocial and disrespectful of the community around them. But we have a bigger problem, beyond that, beyond the building, the kind of entrenchment of this culture of drinking. We also have a problem, particularly around unlicensed outlets, and that is unemployment and poverty and the lack of access to the wherewithal to make a living. And so a lot of people turn to alcohol as a way of making a living, even though it's against the law. And I suspect that even if we do introduce new legislation, which is what we've been arguing for years, even if we do get rid of advertising, even if we do limit operating hours of alcohol outlets and take various other legislative measures, we're not really going to solve the problem until such time as we've begun to create an environment in which people are not, in a way, some people are not forced into selling liquor as a way of making a living, as we saw happening under apartheid. Because remember, this idea of shebeens, of unlicensed liquor outlets, is not a new thing.
Yes.
It actually emerged in South Africa during the apartheid era. In fact, the pre-apartheid era, because alcohol, the sale of alcohol to black people was banned for more than 60 years, up until 1962. And so the whole shebeen culture developed out of that.
Thank you so much, Maurice. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Thank you so much for your contributions. That was alcohol harm reduction activist, Mr. Maurice Smithers.